Mahadeva, 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 Mahadeva. Is this okay, Anish bhai? Om Yo Brahmanam Vidadhati Purvam Yo Vai Vedanscha Prahinoti Tasmai Tam Hadevamatma Buddhi Prakasham Mumukshurvai Sharanamaham Prapadye. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Namo Brahmadibhyo Brahma Vidya Sampradaya Kartribhyo Vamshirshibhyo Mahadbhyo Namo Gurubhyaha Sarvopaplavarahitaha Prajnanaganaha Pratyagartho Brahmaivahamasmi Brahmaivahamasmi Om Vedantartha Vibhasakaya Gurave Shantaya Sannyasine Nanavadi Nagendra Sanghapavaye Yogindra Vandyaya Cha Mohadvanta Divakaraya Bhagavat Padabhidham Bibhrate Tasmai Bhashyakೃತೆ Namostu Satatam Purnaya Bodhatmane Om. Yastu jnana shastram anabhyasya yatha sambhavam vasana kshaya mano nashao abhyasya sagunam brahmopaste nutasya kaivalyam asti. Supposing there is a person who is striving for manonasha and vasanakshaya very sincerely. But he has not exposed himself to the Jnana Shastram, to the path of knowledge. Shravana Manana Nididhyasanam is not there. Therefore, you are going to see some people in life who are not jnanis, but you will find in them several qualities which are worthy of admiring. There are several qualities in them that will make you feel that they are worshipful. There is nobility in them. Okay. Some noble virtues are seen. And it is not that this person is doing or putting up a show. It is truly his character. You are going to come across people who have a natural disposition towards meditation. For them to sit quietly, stay collected, eyes closed, undisturbed, they can easily be like that. So you are going to see people who are striving for manonasha and vasanakshaya. And it is also seen, it is reflected in their life, in their character, in their interactions. Now, therefore, a question is, such a saintly person whom you can hold in very high regard, will he be liberated or not? Will he be liberated or not? Another very good thing about such a person is Sagunam Brahma Upaste. You are also going to see intense devotion for God in such a person. So now you can say that everything which you want to see in a saint is there in this person. There are noble virtues. The character is very clean. There is devotion for God. And also, this person sometimes is seen absorbed in meditation, practices meditation. Now, with all such goodness, wherein you can truly say he is worshipful, he can be admired. Will such person attain liberation or not? This question, this issue is answered over here by saying, Na tasya kaivalyam asti. He will not attain kaivalyam. Sir, why are you so biased? Why are you saying that he will not attain kaivalyam? You should have an answer. You cannot say that, because he does not follow what I am saying. And the answer is linga dehasya anapayat. Linga dehasya anapayat. Linga deha meaning the subtle body. Because that subtle body will still continue. And therefore, there is something for him to identify with, some sort of limitation with which he will identify. And therefore, linga dehasya anapayat tasya kaivalyam nasti. अतएव अतः एवकारेण तवपि व्यावर्त्यते. And therefore, now when it comes to videha mukti, in videha mukti, the tattvajnanam alone is the moksha sadhanam. Knowledge alone is the means to moksha, kaivalyam. Okay? That evakar, knowledge alone, that alone, saying alone, is meant to remove. What is this? What are you doing? You're not allowed to be seen. We are in America. In India, it's okay. You can find mosquitoes. Uh, People will say, well, it's India, so mosquitoes, flies, okay. Now, behave yourself. Go to school. अतः एव कारेण तव अपि व्यावर्त्यते येन मुच्यते इति अस्य अयम् अर्थः येन ज्ञानप्रापितकेवलत्वेन now attainment of that aloneness, not loneliness, alone, because that what is infinite will be only one. That what is infinite is one. ज्ञानप्रापितकेवलत्वेन कृत्स्नबन्धाद् विमुच्यते इति. And therefore, by attainment of that kevalatva, attainment of that aloneness, which is attained by through knowledge, he is muchyate. He gets liberated. Means what, sir? Kritsna bandhad vimuchyate. So we have this morning already seen this. Kritsna bandhad, from all the bondages, total bondage, he is liberated. Bandhascha aneka vidha. There are many facets to the bondage. What are those various facets because of which now you had to say Kritsna bandha? From all the bondage. Okay? From all the bondage. Kritsna bandhad vimuchyate. And he names them. These are the different facets. Avidya granthi, the knot of ignorance. Avidya granthi, abrahmatvam, not being Brahman. Abrahmatvam, hridaya granthi, the knot of the heart. Granthi means knot. The knot of the heart. Samshayaha, a doubt. A doubt. Karmani, the various karmas which are waiting to give their result. Karmani. Asarvakamatvam, a person who is unfulfilled. So unfulfillment. Some desire is there, and that's why this person says, I'm still not fulfilled. Something is still there, wanting. So asarvakamatvam is sarvakama, he is not there. All desires are fulfilled, is not there. What is there? Asarvakamatvam, mrityuhu, death, punarjanma, rebirth, ityadi shabdaihi tatra tatra vyavaharat. These are the various words used to indicate the bondage. So it is bondage, but these are the various facets of the bondage. And Upanishads have used these words to indicate bondage. So finally, though we have said bondage means actually misery, that from which you want to set yourself free. Ask any person, what do you really want to be free from? Then that person is going to say, I want to be free from misery. I don't want to suffer. This is the bondage. So on having made an inquiry, We have already reached a point where we said that the meaning of word bondage is ignorance. Correct? Meaning of bondage is ignorance. And therefore, the meaning of word freedom or liberation would mean freedom from ignorance. Though this is true, yet the Upanishad, various Upanishads, they have they have they have employed various words to indicate this bondage, to indicate that bondage. What are the various words? So by looking at these words, you should not be confused that some places, the Upanishad says avidya, some places it says punarjanma, some places it says unfulfillment, some places it says discovering yourself to be limited, small. What is it? Because then there will be some modern scholars who are, like today sitting in this, your universities, becoming an authority on Hinduism. Huh? There is no unanimous opinion in the Upanishads about what exactly is bondage. And then they get a PhD. That Upanishad is something so flimsy that all the Upanishads have got different, they have an internal conflict. One Upanishad says bondage means avidya granthi. Another Upanishad says it means abrahmatvam. Third Upanishad says that bondage means punarjanma. Fourth Upanishad says it means unfulfillment. Another one says hridaya granthi. So, really speaking, these Upanishads they do not have an unanimous decision about what exactly the bondage is. Okay? So now this fellow he says, I'm an authority, I have read all the Upanishads and they are all confusions. We are going to say these are different names for bondage. Bandhascha aneka vidaha. These are the various facets of bondage. How? So these are the Shrutis which are going to show you what it means. एतद्यो वेद निहितं गुहायां सो अविद्या ग्रंथिं विकरतीह सोम्य. In the Mundak Upanishad, the teacher speaks to the disciple saying, Hey Somya. Somya means, oh pleasant one. The student has to be is pleasant, not ugra, not a violent student, hell bent on fighting and proving points. No, not like that. Hey Somya, oh dear one. So it is kind of a word used to mean endearment. So hey Somya, etadyo veda nihitam guhayam. He who knows this, by that word this means Brahman. He who knows Brahman, nihitam guhayam, hidden. Where hidden? Guhayam, in the cave of the heart. He who knows this God seated, hidden in the cave of the heart, avidya granthim vikarati. Iha. He what do they undoes he unravels, undo, and so I said undoes. English. The other day somebody was also on this. There was this meme. So somebody said, "You are characterless." So then she says, "I'm character." Then you must be character more. If this is character less, more. So to undo means undoes. The unravels the knot. Which knot? Avidya granthim vikarati. Iha. Iha means in this very life. He on this earth, in this life, he unravels the avidya granthi, the knot of ignorance. Hey Somya. But who does this? Etadyo Veda, he who knows. So, how is this avidya seen over here, ignorance? As a granthi, as a knot, gunta, as a complex. We all live with complexes, different complexes, each one has got problems. And the best, the interesting part of every complex is that every complex is centered on I. Every complex is centered on I. And therefore, he who knows this Brahman is able to free himself from all the complex of ignorance. From the complex of ignorance. Avidya granthim vikarati iha he somya. So now over here, what have you understood by the word bondage? What is the implication of word bondage over here from this Shruti? Avidya granthi. Hmm? Avidya granthi. So you got one name for the bondage as avidya granthi, the knot of ignorance. Vikarati hasomya. Furthermore, Brahmaveda Brahmaiva Bhavati. Again, Mundak Upanishad only. He who knows Brahman, Brahmaveda, Brahmaiva Bhavati. He who knows Brahman is Brahman. Say, suppose he who is not Brahman knows himself, then starts calling himself as Brahman. Will that be called as knowledge? Or will it be an error, a mistake? The other day, this is what I am saying. The Jiva knows himself to be Brahman. How can the Jiva know himself to be Brahman? If the Jiva starts calling himself as Brahman, then it is a mistake because he is a Jiva. How can you call yourself Brahman or know yourself Brahman? Because knowing the rope as rope is knowledge. If you know the rope as snake, it is a mistake. It is an error. If you basically are a person and now you claim that I am Brahman, then it is a mistake. It is not knowledge. But there is a possibility that this I is Brahman, but was mistakenly understood as Jiva. And therefore, the possibility is that Brahma, he who knows Brahman becomes Brahman or is Brahman. No other way. Do you understand? Now, yeah, please. You want to say something?
This it doesn't suffer. It doesn't. It's not. It doesn't suffer. It doesn't have joy. It's constant. So it's pretty powerful emotion.
Okay. So we are not giving you a scheme for a person to become Brahman. The instruction over here is Atma is Brahman. It is not said that you will become Brahman. So if the Upanishad was to say Tatvam Bhavishyasi, no, what is said? Tatvam Asi, you are that. It is not a promise given. A promise means after death, one day you will go to heaven. Not even, after death you will go to heaven. You will have to wait. Ah, wait for whom? For what? No, the last day of judgment, whenever that is there. That why is there this delay? Why do I have to wait? Then this is not called as justice, because the one who died on the last day of the judgment and the one who has died few centuries ago, now his judgment was delayed for these many centuries, but this fellow who died quickly, now he has been given that. How can that be called as justice? Somebody was given heaven quickly, and somebody was had to wait for centuries together. For what reason? Eh, the judge is not free these days. He is on a holiday. Why? What is it doing till then? So even that whole idea of judgment is kind of little, doesn't seem to be full of justice. Though you are calling it a judgment and justice and everything, when justice is delayed, it is not justice. Delayed justice is not justice, is not it? Somebody was put in a jail for 20 years. That fellow stayed in jail, and then it was declared, well, he is innocent. Is that justice given to that person? Therefore, this is not justice. This is not justice. So over here, Tatvam Bhavishyasi, you will become that, is not said. Therefore, it is not a promise. This is a statement of fact which is immediately verifiable. Immediately. How immediately? As immediate is your experience, I am. Now, in order for you to have the experience, I am, Ahamasmi, how long do you have to wait? How long do you have to wait? Is there any wait? No, I am. And along with this I is this, just as with this experience presently that you have, I am, but what do you find? That I am limited. I am small. I am inadequate. So on and so forth, which is associated with it, is not that. Just I am without any limitation. So Brahmaveda Brahmaiva Bhavati. He who knows Brahman becomes Brahman. Now, that becomes Brahman does not mean in future. It is not Bhavishyasi. Asi. What is that? Asi. Asi means now. So this is something to be known immediately here. And that's why even in the earlier sentence it is said, Etadyo Veda Nihitam Guhayam Saha Avidya Granthim Vikarati Iha. Here. There is that Iha means there is some sense of immediateness. It is not in remote future, whenever, late, afterwards. No, not even that. Brahmaveda Brahmaiva Bhavati. Okay. So now, if you have to understand, how will you define bandha, bondage, by looking at this particular sentence? So, if liberation is claiming one's brahmatvam, claiming your own infiniteness, then what is the form of bondage? Claiming your limited existence, that I am small, and from here, don't you see all complexes coming up? I am small means I am insignificant. When I am insignificant, I will see to it that people recognize me and I get some significance. I will make myself important. I will make other people know my presence, know my value. They better recognize me. So there is a demand. And that demand in various ways: give me attention, look at my power, admire me, appreciate me. What are these things? It is declaration that I am apurnam. Abrahmatvam is the bondage. From this sentence, what do you understand? Bondage is abrahmatvam. When the meaning of moksha is becoming Brahma, not being Brahma is bondage. Simple. Abrahmatvam. So because we are saying bandhascha aneka vidaha, the bandha, the bondage, then is seen as with various facets. And this is all how the various Upanishads are throwing light on what bondage is. So don't get into some, silly fellow telling you that the Upanishads themselves are not clear about what bondage is. Somebody says bondage means avidya granthi. The second Upanishad says it is hridaya granthi. The third Upanishad says it is what? Abrahmatvam. So these are various facets of the same thing. And therefore, now we look at it. Now, along with that, the bondage is also defined with few other words. Hridaya Granthi, Samshayaha, Karma. Okay? When you say Karma, yeah, you say, but this is my karma, this is my prarabdha karma. Means whatever you have done now comes back. Whether you do it now or you must have done it 10 lives before, but whatever you are experiencing is a result of that karma. However unpleasant it may be, however unpleasant it may be. So now, these are the various words used to say bondage. How in the third Shruti is also from the Mundaka Upanishad only. भिद्यते हृदयग्रन्थिः छिद्यन्ते सर्वसंशयाः क्षीयन्ते चास्य कर्माणि तस्मिन् दृष्टे परावरे. By knowing Paramatma, paravara. Now that I will not get into this explanation of the word paravara, you keep it as Paramatma. By knowing Paramatma, what happens? Bhidyate hridaya granthihi. The various knots of the heart are cut asunder. Various complexes that one has. I am good, but people don't recognize my goodness. You know, I'm beautiful, but people don't call me beautiful. Look at my nose; it seems to be better than any actor on the cinema, Hollywood, Bollywood. They don't have that complex. Very good, Laksabun. What various complexes a person is carrying. I am ugly. I am good. I am bad. I am holy. I am a sinner. These are complexes. So, you know, before you heard this sermon, you never had the idea that I am a sinner. You never had the idea that I am a sinner. And it is for my sins, the messenger of God, the Son of God is suffering. So you were happy. Then one day, you felt that I have some other problems for which then you went to and heard a sermon. You already had a problem, and now he tells you that you are a sinner. Another complex created. You went over there because you had a problem, then you come back with a bigger problem. And when you have a bigger problem, now the smaller problems don't bother you.
Where do you put the phrase, I have rights? Because
I have rights.
I have rights. And because that sort of creates a clinging to the thing that has challenged those rights or to the loss of those rights.
So when you say you have rights, your rights are somebody's duties. And just as their duties then become your rights, so also you have a duty towards them, which happens to be their rights. On a transactional level, this this thing has to be well balanced. Okay, this has to be well balanced. This is transactional, and what we are talking about is totally different. It is it is moksha. And this is a transaction. But in transaction, whether you are calling yourself a person who fulfills his duties or a person who, without wanting to fulfill his duties, is demanding his rights, or there is a person who takes advantage of others but does not give back anything in return, this cunningness is there. No, sir. This we are not. Both of these people are still in the frame of ignorance. Both of them are ignorant. Therefore, even a good person or a person who calls himself bad, both both are in ignorance. Bhidyate hridaya granthi. Therefore, all this, the knots of the heart are cut asunder. All the complexes are resolved. All the complexes are resolved by the knowledge, by the knowledge. All that one simply needs to do is expose himself to the knowledge. And knowledge does this. Freud is trying to give you a psychoanalysis, and you know, all the psychologists are going to tell you, having all this problem, jealousy, anger, and they will tell you that it is normal. Everybody has it. Now, everybody has it makes you feel okay. I'm not the only one. Everybody has it. Hmm? That is what is said. Then it is normal. No, everybody has it does not make me free from it. I just have the comfort that not only me, everybody is suffering. Okay, it just gives me this comfort that I'm not the only unique fellow. Everybody has got this problem, and so comfort. Everybody has it, but it does not set me free. And therefore, you can keep going to all the psychologists and everyone for this. They may make you comfortable, but the problem is not resolved. The problem is not resolved. And therefore, bhidyate hridaya granthi, by exposing yourself to the means of knowledge, shravana manana nididhyasanam, all these granthis are resolved. They are gone. And so, hridaya granthi is one name given to bondage. Okay, we have seen avidya granthi is called as bondage. Then we have understood abrahmatvam is also called as bondage. So also hridaya granthi is also called as bondage. Chidyate sarva samshayah, by exposing yourself to shravana manana nididhyasanam, because this is the jnana abhyasa. What happens? The doubts are resolved. All the doubts are also resolved. Samshayaha. As long as this knowledge is infested with doubt, till then it is really not knowledge. I'll tell you how. Let us say, let us say there is a person who sees that snake. Okay. Then his father, or someone whom he trusts, tells him it is not a snake, it is a rope. So now he has his own experience says it is a snake. So his knowledge is it is a snake. Another knowledge has also come about the same object, it is a rope. Now he accepts it because he has faith in the person who has told him. He accepts it. This is a rope. But because his own experience is there to contradict the knowledge that has come, so he says, maybe a snake, maybe a rope. It may be a rope, may not be a rope. It may be a snake, it may not be a snake. So, whenever your knowledge is in this state, it is called as samshaya. Maybe, may not be. Agnostic, maybe, may not be. Doubt. Kotidvayam jnanam is called as doubt. Whenever that knowledge is in two categories like this, it is called as a doubt. Maybe a snake, may not be a snake. Maybe a rope, may not be a snake, may not be a rope. Maybe a snake, or maybe also it can also be a rope. This is the thing. Samshayaha. All the samshayas, whichever, how can Atma be Brahman, etc., all these samshayas will be removed. Will be removed means now he already has resolved the samshayas. Now the direct experience, in the sense that knowledge which is not having. So if there is any doubt raised by any disciple, anyone, now even he has the capacity to resolve all the doubts. So there it goes. Now say, suppose if you have this knowledge that this is a table, and I say, well, this is something else, this is a refrigerator. Now you have all the logic to prove me that it is a table and not a refrigerator. What has allowed you to give that explanation? What has given you that capacity to provide that explanation that it is not a refrigerator, this is a table? Knowing this is a table, just that much is sufficient. That much is sufficient. You have the capacity to resolve all the doubts. Every doubt regarding this thing, whether it is a table or something else, can be resolved because you know for sure it is a table. And therefore, s- chidyante, what is that? Chidyante sarva samshayaha. So, samshaya is a word which is used to mean bondage. Samshaya is a word that is used to mean bondage. Don't glorify the samshaya. I'm an agnostic forever. That samshaya means it is something that needs to be resolved. Hmm.
रिमूवल ऑफ द डाउट और द संशय त्याच्याने प्रतिबंध नाही सकतो.
डाउटच प्रतिबंध है. That doubt itself is the pratibandha, for which there is mananam. छिद्यन्ते सर्वसंशयाः क्षीयन्ते चास्य कर्माणि. Now all the karmas which are waiting to give their results, waiting to give the results means, it means future janma, etc. And now you know that janma means dukkham. Why, sir? That janma means garbha, garbha dukkham, janma dukkham, संयोग दुखम वियोग दुखम रोग दुखम जरा दुखम मृत्यु दुखम इति. Coming in contact with something produces dukham. Losing contact with something produces dukham. And these two are constant. Then third thing which comes and never leaves is jara dukham. It keeps on increasing. Jara means old age, senility. It keeps on increasing. So therefore, karmas are waiting over there to give some body. I think I should have been born as a man, not as a woman. Man has more freedom. I should be born in heaven, not here. In wrong place I'm born. So you want to go there now. Born anywhere, assume any body, it is still dukkham. And therefore karmani kshiyante. Thus, whether it is the hridaya granthi, samshaya, or karma, all this is destroyed by what? Tasmin drishte paravare, in knowing, in seeing Parameshwara, in Paramatma, in knowing that Paramatma. So knowledge over here is shown as to be the cause of destruction of all these things. And therefore, knowledge destroys the bondage, is what we have known. Knowledge destroys the bondage. But in these places, knowledge is said to be the destroyer. In some places, knowledge destroys Hridaya Granthi. In some places, knowledge destroys the Avidya Granthi. In other places, knowledge destroys the sense of limitation, inadequacy, incompleteness. Knowledge destroys that. So, all these things which the knowledge is responsible for its removal is all bondage. But one thing for sure we are seeing is that these, whatever are the bondages called as, whatever the bondage may be called as, the solution is the solution is knowledge. And therefore, that what the knowledge removes is bondage. That what the knowledge removes is ignorance. So thus all these are the various names given to the bondage itself. But sir, why are you giving various names? Because at times you will see some samshaya is called as a bond. Samshaya is removed by knowledge. Correct? Whether this is a table or not, can you not remove this samshaya? Because you know it is a table, you have the capacity to remove this doubt. Knowledge removes samshaya. Then in another place it is said that knowledge removes hridaya granthi, some complex. But not necessarily now samshaya and hridaya granthi, some complex, is one and the same. Correct? somebody feels I am special. Everybody wants to feel special. And then somebody wants to feel so much special that he says, I am so special that God has specially sent me for, you know, in this world. So one man goes into a mental hospital. One fellow comes out, clean white bed sheet comes out. And, with a very peaceful voice, I am the messenger of God. This fellow says, he looks so nice. He speaks also, very peacefully. Really? Is he the messenger of God? One booming voice comes from the top. Don't believe in him. I have not sent him. So this fellow looks up. There is yet another fellow sitting on the fan. Hey, you tell. He wants to call himself special, different, better than others. Then what? He has a complex. This is a complex. It is not samshaya. It is not a doubt. Whether it is a doubt or any complex, both of these are removed by knowledge. And therefore, we have to say that Hridaya Granthi is also bondage, Samshaya is also bondage. These are the various facets of bondage. And therefore, by saying knowledge removes them all, we understand these are Upanishad has done a great upakara. Upakara means what is the word for upakara in has huh? Yes, the Upanishads have done a great favor to the whole of humanity by using various, showing that these are the various ways in which these are the faces of bondage. Really speaking, only knowledge destroys only ignorance. But are you ready to say a complex is ignorance? Are you ready to say samshaya is an ignorance? Are you ready to say that this sense of incompleteness is ignorance? I'm inadequate, unfulfilled, incomplete, which one carries. Are you ready to say that this is ignorance? No, but you call it as bondage because you want to be free from it. One wants to be free from this sense of incompleteness. One wants to be free from the sense of limitation, inadequacy, lack. One wants to be free from samshaya. What exactly is this self? Samshaya. Some people call me good, some people call me bad. What is this I in reality? What is this I? Sometimes this I appears as the experiencer and the doer. And when it is not the Jagrat Avastha, when it is not the waking state of experience or the dream state of experience, but when it is the deep state of sleep, the state of deep sleep, even this sense of experiencership, doership is absent, and I know it is absent. Therefore, I wake up from the sleep and say there was nothing. Some say that this I is just this body-mind complex, a psychological entity, a physical entity, a psychophysical entity. What is this I? What is this I? Samshaya. a doubt is there, a question is there. All this is resolved by knowledge. So, therefore, a samshaya is not necessarily a complex. The sense of inadequacy is not a samshaya. You want to prove others that how holy you are. I'm very sattvic, Don't touch. I'm head above shoulders to you. Hmm. Complex. But this is not samshaya. Whether it is this or that, everything goes away through knowledge. And therefore, though we have understood knowledge destroys ignorance, but you in at this present moment are not ready to call all these things as ignorance. And that is what the Upanishad has done, shown you that this is all those things. These are all those things which are removed by knowledge, and therefore they are nothing but ignorance and various facets of ignorance. This is the bondage and various facets of bondage. And therefore, kritsna bandhar vimuchyate. Kritsna means total, all. Krishna ne. Kritsna. Tasana. है ना? कृत्स्न कृत्स्न बंधन विमुच्यते. Then यो वेद निहितं गुहायां परमे व्योमन् सोष्णुते सर्वकामान् सः. Yo Veda Nihitam Guhayam, he who knows this Paramatma to be in the cave of heart. Cave of heart means an immediate experience. It is not remote. Otherwise, you will think, I have to go into the cave of heart. Going, meditation, deep. Where are you going? In the cave of heart. Wait, very dark. I'm trying to find way. No, cave of heart, it simply means the very core of every experience. Okay? Yo Veda Nihitam Guhayam Parame Vyoman Soshnute Sarvakaman. He attains, he finds his every desire is fulfilled. Everything is fulfilled. How, sir? How, sir? Say, suppose, as Abhishek Chaitanya, I may desire this pot. Okay? But tell me, does this pot desire itself? It may desire something else. But can it desire itself? Can you have desire for yourself? You can have desire for money. You can have desire for something. I desire, my youth should be retained. My health should be retained. Because it is something other than you which can escape you. But you don't desire yourself. You desire something that is other than you. Correct? What is this whole world of names and forms? It is Brahman alone. That Brahma I am, and therefore I am Sarvaroop. I am this everything, and therefore, by the very virtue that I am everything, what is there for me to desire? Because everything is already attained as myself. Everything is attained as as myself. And so, Sahashnute Sarvan Kaman, he attains everything. Unattainment of everything is a bondage, because I have attained this much, but something is still remaining. That always will be there. But in knowing Aham, I am Brahman, everything is already attained, and attained as this I, as the self. Therefore, now this abrahmatvam, asarvakamatvam is also bondage. Acha. Then we use even the word mrityu. Mrityu meaning death. Death. Everyone wants to overcome death. So how? Tameva viditva atimrityumeti. Shvetashvata Upanishad. Tameva viditva tam viditva. Knowing that alone. Knowing that meaning Paramatma. Knowing that alone, ati mrityumeti crosses over the death. Not only crosses over death, even the bhayam of death is gone. The sense of insecurity, because what will happen to me tomorrow? This is that bhayam. Not that person actually, I don't want to be physically, perish when this is not all the time that there is there. But insecurity remains with the person. What will happen to me? What will happen to me? What will happen to me if I don't have money? What will happen to me if my relatives don't support me? What will happen to me if the people whom I love stop loving me? What will happen to me if my image is in the society is tarnished? So on and so forth. The person is constantly tormented by some sort of insecurity. But how does that, even that bhayam also goes away? In knowing tameva viditva. And therefore, there is no other escape other than knowing Parameshwara. So, where the Tattvajnanam takes place, moksha is attained. This moksha, then we are saying, is kaivalyam, which suggests dehadi rahityam. Okay, we have to go there and stop. Yastu vijnanavan bhavati samanaska sada shuchihi satu tatpadamapnoti yasmad bhuyo na jayate. Kathopanishad. Yastu vijnanavan bhavati, he who is endowed with knowledge, vidyavan, vijnanavan bhavati. Okay, he who now knows. Vishyan samanaska, and his mind is also at peace. Sada shuchihi. Sada shuchi means there is purity. Sada shuchi. Sada shuchihi. Satu tatpadamapnoti. He attains that. Tatpadam. He attains that padam. What is that place that he attains, or what is it that he attains? Yasmad bhuyo na jayate, because of which there is no rebirth now. So now bhuyo na jayate, he is not born again. So being born again is also bondage. And how does it go? Through knowledge. Through knowledge. And therefore, even birth and rebirth, etc., is also called as bondage, and that also goes away by knowledge alone. Yasmad bhuyo na jayate. Further, य एवं वेद अहम ब्रह्मास्मीति सैदं सर्वं भवति. He who knows, yaha evam veda. Evam veda means he who knows like this. The word veda over here is verb. It is a verb. Okay. He who knows, how does he, what does he know? Aham brahmasmi, that I am Brahman. Sa idam sarvam bhavati. Now, what does he see? That all this world is not apart from me. There is nothing other than me. When there is nothing other than me, there is nothing that I need to chase or nothing to chase away from me. I want to chase something because that becomes the source of my security or pleasure, or I want to chase away something from me because it is a source of my insecurity or it is a source of my dukkham. Right? इसको भगाओ, मच्छर को भगाओ. क्यों? परेशान कर रहा है. You want to say chase this mosquito away because it is troubling me. Other than me, you want to chase something. When there is nothing apart from me, therefore there is nothing to chase or there is nothing to hide from. There is nothing to chase, there is nothing to hide from, that you want to hide yourself, make yourself sick. Idam sarvam bhavati. And the self love is natural or not? It is natural, like that. Now, for this great sage, for him, the whole world is not apart from him, and therefore, towards this whole world, every name and form, there is love and affection. And therefore, his every breath that he draws in or exhales out is a benediction to the world. Idam sarvam bhavati. But who, for whom? Ya evam veda. He who thus knows aham brahmaiti. So, what is the bondage then? Not knowing Aham Brahma. Not knowing Aham Brahma, or not seeing the whole world as, as not being apart from him. Asarvatmakam. This is the bond. All this bondage expressed in different words. But finally, what removes it? Knowledge. Therefore, bondage can be expressed in different ways. Abrahmatvam, then punarjanma, mrityu, samshaya, hridaya granthi, avidya granthi. These are all the names given to bondage. What removes it? Knowledge. Now, really speaking, what is it that knowledge removes? Ignorance. Then what are all these names, different names? Ignorance in different forms. It is what? Ignorance in different forms. Just as this morning, did I not tell you that Ravana has got 10 faces, different faces. Ignorance has different faces. Nobody except Rama can destroy Ravana. Knowledge alone destroys. Come in any form, knowledge is there. And therefore, all these things is not given, to some PhD professor who holds a chair somewhere. This is something that has to come through the tradition of teaching or the tradition of knowledge, not for a display of scholarship for some salary. If it gives you bread and butter, go ahead, that's okay. But that is not it. That's why the Upanishad is something that should be handled by the teacher. You understand the whole why the tradition of teaching is so important. No, I'm a mystic. Last night I slept, and then in the night I had this some mystical experience. Next day morning I woken up. Now I can explain all this Upanishad. No, Baba, it's okay. Let it come through the tradition of knowledge, Guru Shishya Parampara. That's why everywhere you are going to see the Parampara is mentioned. Bhagavan Shri Krishna says, Imam vivasvate yogam प्रोक्तवानहम व्ययम विवस्वान् मनवे प्राह मनुइक्ष्वा कवे ब्रवीन. Does he not give that parampara? There is a parampara. Parampara meaning a tradition handed down. All that is handed down is actually the means of knowledge. But how to handle those means of knowledge, these words, is also important. Got it? And so, ye eva, thus, this is ityadini asarvajñatvadi bandha nivritti parani vakyani atra udaharaniyani. So also there are other things also which can be brought under the umbrella of bondage. But it will be seen that whatever name you may call it, knowledge is the agency which removes it. And therefore, all this is nothing but avidya vilasa, the play of ignorance. This is all what? The play of ignorance. Avidya vilasa. So further, Sayam videha mukti hi jnanotpatti samana kalina jneya. This mukti, which is now called as the videha mukti, when does it take place? Same time as when the knowledge takes place. Sayam videha mukti takes place, absence of the deha, adi. Okay, dehadi rahityam is kaivalyam. We have seen that. Were you attending in the morning? Dehadi rahityam is defined as kaivalyam. When does this kaivalyam take place? Videha mukti? Jnana samakalina eva. How, when? Right at that very moment when the knowledge has taken place. Right at that very moment when the knowledge has taken place. Samakalina jneya. Why? Brahmani avidyaropitanam etesham bandhanam vidyaya vinashe sati punarutpattiya sambhavad ananubhavacha. Because all of these are nothing but just phantoms created by ignorance. These bondages are nothing but what? Phantoms created by ignorance. Avidya, avidya brahmani avidyaropitanam, aropitanam superimposed, but I'm using the another word, phantoms created by ignorance. Bandhanam vidyaya vinashe sati, when this they get destroyed through the knowledge, through vidya, punarutpatti asambhavad, now they cannot be born again. Ignorance once destroyed by the knowledge cannot come back. Ignorance cannot come back. If you have known something, that means now the ignorance is gone. You may forget it, but in case of Brahma Vidya, there is no question of even forgetting it. Okay? Now, this is another issue, but look at this with common knowledge. Let us say you did not know that this object is called as ghata, as a pot. Now I tell you that this is a clay pot. Knowledge has taken place. Okay, now you know this is a clay pot. Okay, you get busy with various things and you forget that this is called as clay pot. Okay, so after some days, somebody may ask you, do you know what is? And somebody says, clay pot. Now, previously you were not able to recall it. But second time when it is said, this is a clay pot, what is it? What is your experience? I know it as clay pot was first time. Now I know it is clay pot. But the second time you say, well, I remember it, it is clay pot. You don't say that I did not know. You are going to say, I knew, but I had forgotten. I knew, but I had. So, is forgetfulness and ignorance one and the same? Definitely not. Vismaranam is not equivalent to ignorance. Forgetfulness is not equivalent to ignorance. Ignorance is destroyed once and for all, never to rise. Something may get forgot, you may forget something, but ignorance once gone never returns. Forgetfulness may come, but second time when reminded, you will say, now I remember. You are not going to say that before you reminded me, I did not know. You will say that before you reminded me, I knew, but I had forgotten. So you don't claim your forgetfulness to be ignorance. Ignorance and forgetfulness are two different things. And that's why those people who say, because you have forgotten your Atma. No, you have not forgotten because I did not know. Not knowing is the problem, not forgetfulness. You see? But why do you want to say that, let us say that, it is forgetfulness only. Now I'm going to say, there were certain reasons because of which you forgot, whatever may be the reason. Then the same reasons may arrive and you may forget again. And then forgetting again, reminding, forgetting again. Is this moksha? Moksha means absolutely gone. So it is only knowledge has that power to destroy ignorance, and ignorance goes away once and for all, once the knowledge has taken place. Therefore, this kaivalyam, dehadi rahityam, etc., which is said, is how is it? Jnana samakalina. This kaivalya mukti is how? Jnana Samakalina, meaning at the same time of knowledge. You understand what is Avatara Samakalina? If you were to be born in the same time frame of Sri Krishna, Samakalina, contemporary, at the same time. We are saying Jnana Samakalina Mukti. Okay, which Mukti? Videha Mukti. Punarutpatti Asambhavan and Ananubhavacha. So also it is, if there is any other claim, this is against the experience. Tad etad vidya samakalinatvam bhashyakara samanvaya sutre prapanchayamasa. So also Bhagavan Bhashyakara Shankaracharya Bhagavan has shown it very clearly in his Bhashyam on the Brahma Sutras. Okay, so this is Videha Mukti and there is Jivan Mukti. In Videha Mukti, Tattvajnanam is Pradhanam and Manonasha, Vasanakshaya are Upasarjaniya secondary. Whereas in Jivan Mukti, Tattva Vasanakshaya first, Vasanakshaya and Manonashaya in some measure already have taken place, and therefore Tattvajnanam could take place. But after the Tattvajnanam has taken place, now for the Shanti of Antakaranam, etc., what is there? What is Pradhanam? Vasanakshaya Manonasha is Pradhanam. Okay? What is the meaning of word Manonasha? Manonasha means? Huh? Huh? But but give me in the words of this. Tell what is Manonasha. How does that teacher define it? Correct.
Dissolution of mind.
म्हणजे काय हो त्या शब्दात काय what
वृत्ती म्हणजे thought pattern. When that dissolves, that is nivrutti.
he says वृत्तिरूप परिणामं परित्यज्य निरुद्धाकारेण परिणामः. You remember or not? वृत्तिरूप परिणामं परित्यज्य निरुद्धाकारेण परिणामः is called as manonasha. So in different words it is simply as samadhi. Samadhi is called as manonasha. Then what is the meaning of word vasanakshaya? Removal of those latent sanskaras which are klesha roop, which are klesha roop, and therefore creating the daivi sampat is called as, because the daivi sampat is created, the asuri sampat is removed. So giving up of that asuri sampat is then therefore called as vasana kshayaha. So this is all which is required for jivan mukti. If you have to strive in this direction. All right. So here we will stop, and as we will see if there is a way in which we can still stay connected and study more on a regular basis, not maybe not twice a day, all through, whatever we can decide. And now our internet, etc., has allowed us to stay connected, even remotely. You can see me I can see you, and you know, so I can see how much attention you're paying, or you're falling to sleep, or just keeping the video on and gone. Where gone? Avidya Nivrutti has taken place, gone. No, I can see. There are ways of doing it, and we should do it. Okay, because this is the only way jnana abhyas can take place. This is the only way you can really protect yourself, because all through the day and all through your life there is a constant bombardment of everything from outside, and at least in a form of a respite, marampatti, let there be this satsang. Okay, as a process to heal, to overcome. We will stop here, and something more we will discuss after the class is over. ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्तिः 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 शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मीति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः ॐ। इत्येषा वाङ्मयी पूजा श्रीमच्छङ्करपादयोः अर्पिता तेन देवेश प्रीयतां मे सदा शिवः। महादेव। Thus,